In this teaching, I'd like to talk about Ignatian meditation and contemplation and how they're related. They're not rival methods. They're not certainly beginner versus advanced. They're actually two rhythms of the same friendship with Christ. Sometimes in prayer, we need to consider and respond. At other times, we simply need to behold and receive. The Catechism describes meditation as a prayerful search that engages thought, imagination, emotion, and desire so that faith becomes personal and concrete. It also describes contemplation as a simple gaze of faith fixed on Jesus, a wordless love that receives more than it explains. No? In other words, both are Christian prayer. The difference is a center of gravity. In Ignatian meditation, we work with our mind, with our heart together. We take a gospel passage, we take maybe a truth of faith, like God's mercy, God's forgiveness, humility, and then we chew it slowly, we chew it, we notice what it says, what it reveals about God, what it reveals about ourselves, and then we ask, Lord, what are you teaching me here? Or what are you asking me to change maybe in my life? It can feel like connecting the dots. We reason, we sift, we let the light of truth land, and then we watch how it stirs our affections, maybe leading to gratitude, to sorrow, to desire, to hope. And then we end in response. It could be a petition, it could be a resolution, a concrete step we take. And that's why meditation so often bears the fruit of clarity, conviction, moral change, courage, practical next steps. St. Ignatius was very keen on forming disciples who know how to choose well. And he knew that prayer should shape our daily decisions. Now, Ignatian contemplation, by contrast, is less about working through an idea and more about entering a relationship. Ignatius speaks of the composition of place, and that means we place ourselves inside the gospel scene. For example, in Bethlehem, we put ourselves in the scene at the birth of Jesus. Or Nazareth, we put ourselves in the holy house of Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Maybe we were there at the lakeshore of Galilee, or on the road to Emmaus, or in the upper room. We watch Jesus, we listen, we notice details, we pay attention to what draws us. It could be a word, a look, a gesture, a moment of mercy. And then we stay there, not to solve the scene, but to be with the Lord in it. And the guiding question becomes, Lord, where are you in this? And what is it like to be with you? This prayer often feels like gazing, lingering, being looked at by Jesus, being changed quietly. Many saints describe this as a deepening intimacy, not so much understanding something new as being loved into newness. For example, St. Peter on the shore after the resurrection is not receiving a lecture. He is receiving a look. He's receiving breakfast from Jesus. And then he receives those 3 gentle questions that heal his 3 denials. The heart learns to trust because it encounters Christ's presence. Now, when either form of prayer is going well, both will include emotion and silence. Meditation can become very still when a truth finally hits home. Contemplation can include thoughts when the scene naturally raises questions, but the weight shifts. In meditation, meaning and response are often central. For example, truth leading to choice. In contemplation, presence and relationship are central. Christ leading us to deeper communion. Pope Benedict XVI often returned to this point. He said that Christianity is not an idea, but an encounter with a person, Jesus Christ. And that's exactly what Ignatian contemplation protects. Prayer as encounter. Now, on retreat, people might often ask, which one should I do? The honest answer is the one that helps you receive the grace God is giving you here and now in this moment of prayer. Use meditation when prayer feels scattered and you need a structure, when you need light for a decision, when you're confronting a pattern of sin, when you're praying perhaps a doctrinal or moral theme and you need it to become real, like forgiveness, poverty of spirit. Use contemplation when the gospel scene naturally draws you in. You feel like you're being put into the scene. When you sense the Lord inviting you to stay rather than to just think a lot. When your heart needs trust, when it needs healing, when words become few and presence becomes strong. This is really the kind of prayer that sustained St. Therese of Lisieux. Not dramatic insights every day, but the steady, loving gaze of Jesus. It's the prayer behind so much of Mother Teresa's fruitfulness. She could serve the poorest of the poor because she had first learned to recognize Christ and remain with Him in adoration. Love to be with Jesus, her life seems to say, and you will learn how to be with everyone else. And when you drift, welcome to the human race. Don't scold yourself. Just simply return. So in meditation, return to the text, the point you were considering, the grace you were asking for. In contemplation, return to the scene. Look again at Jesus. Let Him look at you. Listen again. The spiritual life is all about relationship. Pope Francis repeatedly urged Christians not to treat prayer as a technique, but as the cry, the confidence of children before their loving Father. Now, here's a workable pattern. For meditation, ask for the grace you desire as you enter prayer. Read the text slowly. Choose one point that strikes you. Think it through. What is God showing you? What does this mean for your life? Then notice how that's moving you. And then speak to the Lord about that. And then maybe end with a concrete petition. For contemplation, again, ask for the grace you desire. Place yourself in the gospel scene. See and hear what's happening. And just watch Jesus. Watch Him. Listen to Him. Notice His gaze, the tone of His voice, the mercy He's revealing. Notice what draws you. And stay there. Stay with that. And then speak heart to heart. Remember St. John Henry Newman, heart speaks to heart. That's the way he summed up prayer. And then close with gratitude. A simple offering. Both of these forms of prayer are ways of cooperating with grace. Now, I just want to add one last thing. alongside this Ignatian, what we could call acquired contemplation, where we quietly, where we are active, gazing in faith. There's what we could call infused contemplation, which is it's God's initiative. Saint Teresa of Avila uses a beautiful image of obtaining water. So meditation and acquired contemplation would be like us using our effort, our active effort, to draw water. So it means picking up a bucket, walking to the well, putting it down, raising it up, and we have a full bucket of water. That's beautiful. Infused contemplation is God's gift. It's nothing we could ever achieve through our own effort. And it's God filling the bucket himself. It's like God opening up the well springs, and the waters are just flowing freely and filling your heart. You can only be grateful for that and receive it. But it is a beautiful gift. And it's where the Lord is actually leading us in the end, because that's what he wants for all of us, is to be filled with his love and mercy. Amen.